that I'm about to introduce to you, if your brain doesn't melt through your eyes, it will be shocking. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the panel of Paul. I'd like to introduce your director. You may have heard of the film Superbad. He directed it. It's Greg Mottola. Also, as the character of Graham Willie, co-writer of the film, Mr. Simon Pegg. The other co-writer of the film, as Clive Gollings, Mr. Nick Frost is here as well. Playing the character of Zoil is Mr. Jason Bateman is here. As the character of Haggard is Mr. Bill Hader.
Watch the head.
All right, you guys, ready for your next? What are you throwing out? You ready for next? Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Sigourney Weaver. You're not wrong, sir. You're not wrong. Appreciate your enthusiasm. Playing the character of Shadow Child, Mr. Jeffrey Tambor. The next actor plays the character of O'Reilly. I've known him for many years. Maybe you've heard of The State, Mr. Joe Latrulio. There is a little matter of the title character of the film. Paul himself is the voice of Mr. Seth Rogen! Nice. You're hot! You're hot! Seth, I don't know if you're gonna wear this. You're hot. You're hot. According to this lady right here. This is insane. I mean, I can't even believe I'm on the stage with all of these amazing performers. I just want to start with Simon and Nick. You know, where did the idea come from to do this film?
Well, we were shooting a little film called Shaun of the Dead.
I heard of that piece of awesomeness.
I'm really glad you cheered then, because it would have been really embarrassing if you cheap gang. Well, I was just trying to get some applause. We were shooting in the garden. We were doing the scene in Shaun of the Dead when we're throwing records at zombies, and the weather was so bad, the weather was so erratic that Naira Park, our producer, said, can't we shoot something somewhere that's sunny the whole time? And so Nick and I just spitballed this idea of an alien, and there was a desert, and there was this and that. And then 7 years later, here we are.
So is this the first film that you and Nick have actually written together? You didn't write the other ones?
Well, we've written, this is the first film we've written together, but we've written lots of weird sketches and sitcoms which kind of got commissioned and then never got commissioned and we never did them. But this was the first thing that we saw through to the end.
Yeah.
To the climax, if you will.
Now, something that I was reading in the 900-page press kit was that you guys actually, you took a trip across the United States just to see what was out there, you know, when you were preparing for the film. So what was that trip like?
Yeah, we did. We did a road trip. We did the journey that's in the film from sort of California down to where do we end up? Wyoming. Yeah. And because we felt like we wanted to get to know America, and if we wanted to write about it, we had to know it. So we did the tour in an RV and had an incredible adventure. And a lot of what happened to us on that trip is in the film, including meeting an alien.
That's pretty sweet. The thing about doing a road trip in America as well in an RV is you draw the route that you'd like to take on a big map. And it doesn't look that far. And then after you've been driving for 10 hours the first day, you realise you've kind of gone a centimetre. You realise that you kind of have to think about moving your flights, because it just takes so long to travel across America.
It's a big country.
Shaun of the Dead!
You don't realize it, because you think there are hundreds of millions of people in America, and then you just get to these stretches where there's nothing.
Well, we went like a whole day and didn't see a single soul. We saw one old woman on crutches hitchhiking. That was it, in like hundreds and hundreds of miles.
Did you offer her a ride?
No, we didn't. Oh, no.
So how did you get Greg Mottola on board?
He was available.
Now we entered Tommy Wiseau cast.
We saw Superbad and we loved the way that Greg directed it. And comedy isn't just about pointing a camera at funny people. There needs to be humor within the direction. And Greg just framed that film so beautifully that we decided he was the man for us. Now.
Greg, do you have any? I'm having trouble. Can you guys hear each other? It's like there's no monitors on stage. I can't. If I'm not responding like I can hear you, it's because I can't hear you very well. If there are monitors on stage, now would be a good time to do that in front of 4,000 people, so we can hear each other. Greg, do you have any? So when you first got on board, like what was your take?
Well, I was already a huge fan. I mean, if I ever could make a movie as perfect as Shaun of the Dead, I'd retire. That's why I haven't retired. Simon and I had a meeting. He had been shooting all night long, finished a movie. It was the day that Superbad was opening. I was very nervous, he was very tired, and he told me the premise for the film. They hadn't even finished the script yet, and I begged him to consider me. And they were nice enough to send it to me a few months later.
Yeah.
I want to ask Jason Bateman a question. Because you play First of all, why are you so awesome? That's my first question. I don't know. I mean, you can have a chocolate for that. Thank you. A little kiss from Jason Bateman. Second of all, you play the character of Lorenzo Zoil. Just think about that for a second, people. It took me a second too, Lorenzo Zoil. But this seems like a little bit different of a role for you, because normally, you play this really sweet, nice guy, that is kind of surrounded by this world of craziness, and you're kind of the badass of this movie. You're sort of a hunter.
Yes, in this I get to play the bad guy. I am, I don't know how much we're allowed to say about this movie of ours, Paul.
Nothing. Not much up until Paul dies at the end. You can't say anything. What?
Yeah, dead. No. I play the bad guy. I play the guy in Hot Pursuit. If anybody here liked Midnight Run, I basically play Yaphet Kotto minus about 100 pounds and a lighter skin. That's about it.
Yeah. And then Bill Hader, you and Latrulio are sort of the backup guys to Zoil.
Yeah, we're kind of like Peter Coyote and E.T., except not just the crotch and the keys. You get to see our whole face, which is good. We're kind of just stoked about the idea of being like FBI agents, kind of, right?
Yeah, we're kind of an Abbott and Costello type of.
Yeah. It's just me playing a long line of bad authority figures in Greg Mottola movies.
Does Greg let you guys improvise a lot, or is he like, no, stick to the script or I will break you?
Right, yes. He must be stupid.
Sigourney Weaver, I read the script. I know. Come on.
Sigourney Weaver, ladies and gentlemen.
You can't be a straight. Yeah, I know. I mean, every time you just want to stand up and give her a standing ovation. Have you been to Comic-Con before? I mean, 4 Aliens, 2 Ghostbusters. I mean, you've probably been to Comic-Con before, right? And Avatar.
Avatar was a comedy. Well, no, I love comedy, and I was thrilled and overjoyed to be working with this ensemble. I was a big fan of Simon and Nick's and Greg and Jason's and Bill's and everybody. I was a big fan of everybody here, and so to suddenly find myself in this incredibly witty, moving, exciting movie was really a thrill for me.
Now you're kind of a voice for part of it. So did you not get to go out and shoot with everyone, or were you separated from the cast in that way?
An actor learns to put everything into one's voice when one has to, and so I did that. But I do appear eventually, and I play a very glamorous, pivotal figure.